Welcome back, world, to toofab, and we are sitting here with Rachel Lindsay. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we're going to chat a little bit about your show, MTV's Ghosted. If you don't mind, would you like to explain it?
Yeah, so we're on our second season. Very happy about that. When we started filming the second season, it was right when, literally the day we were going to start is when the country shut down. And so we sent everyone home, and I'm very thankful that, you know, MTV and Viacom and Sharp took into consideration our fears. There was just so much uncertainty and unknown. It was really a scary day. And we went home, and I did not think that we would be able to do a season virtually. And I don't even think it was a thought at the time, because we didn't know if this was lasting a month, you know, a couple of weeks, just to know. So when they approached us about doing it virtually, Travis and I, my co-hosts, were so excited because we knew that these stories still needed to be told. We knew that there were people that needed to be helped. Unfortunately, ghosting hasn't stopped. And if anything, it's getting worse in the middle of a pandemic because we can't interact. There is social distancing and people are sitting at home. So if you were ghosted right before the pandemic or maybe during it, you know that the other person isn't most likely at work. They're working from home. They can't go out and socialize. So they're just sitting at home, just avoiding you, which is tough. And then if you're the person who was ghosted, you're sitting there like fixating on it because you don't have anything else to do. And we unravel that as like we go through these stories and we navigate them because it's just for your mental health, it's tough. And so Travis and I are just happy that we're able to, you know, help the haunted, hopefully get them the answers that they need, the closure that they need, so they can move on with their lives. Because having been ghosted, Travis has been ghosted, you realize that you know what it feels like to be in that place, and you're in a place of wondering, you're trying to figure it out, you just want the answers. I remember for me, I was stuck. I couldn't really enter another relationship until I figured out what happened with the ghosting. It happened one time to me, but it was a long-term relationship. So it was devastating to call the phone one day and it say, the phone number you've reached is no longer in service.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was no Instagram, and he wasn't on Facebook or Twitter, and it wasn't until 2 years later I found out what happened. So for me, I was ashamed, I was embarrassed. You didn't talk about it. People would say, what happened to so-and-so? And I would just make something up because I didn't want to say he changed his number on me and I never heard from him again. You know, that's like, back then it was almost unheard of. No one really talked about it, and it definitely didn't have a name. So I think that experience, one, that's why I'm so passionate about doing this show. I've been there before. But two, it really allows myself and Travis to empathize with what these people are going through, what it feels like. And we play that role. Like, I mean, I shouldn't say play that role. I mean, we are that person. We're the best friend for these people, their brother, their sister, their mom, their dad, really trying to help them go through this because they're leaning on us, telling us their stories, explaining their relationship, whether it's a friend, family member, a lover. Like, we have them take us through it. How did you guys meet? What was so special about this person? And it becomes very emotional because they're having to relive a relationship that doesn't exist anymore. And they have no idea why.
The episode we're talking about, so Joanna had met her boyfriend on a rideshare, which, you know, a lot of people might give like a side eye. And I'm like, well, I don't know. It could be a chance to have a long conversation, you know, these days. And I mean, how do you feel about that? Like,
I'm surprised I actually don't hear that more often.
Yeah.
You know, I talk to my Uber and Lyft drivers all the time. So if I was single, I could totally see how I could start engaging in conversation and it could go somewhere, and, you know, maybe it turns into something more, but which is something we talk about. How many other people has he done this with? Is this just what you do? You ride around, you know, you pick up women because it happened for them so fast.
Right.
You know, later that night they hung out.
Right. Yeah. And kind of on that note, like, who knows where you find love? And I was like, well, you're a perfect example, you know, you found it on the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Like, did you or like this could really happen? You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't possible. How did you start?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I remember I left my parents and I said, don't worry, there's no way they're going to find somebody that I'm actually going to be compatible with and fall in love with and want to spend the rest of my life with. That's never going to happen. I said, don't worry. I said, I'm doing this for the culture. I said, they need representation. That was my whole mindset, but I was open. I said, but if it happens, I'm not going to fight it. I just didn't think that I would click with anyone. And after the first night, I remember telling my producer, I'm in trouble. Like I can see it. You guys, I've been tricked.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You knew.
So when I came home I brought 3 men home to my family in Texas, my parents thought I was just doing it to continue with the show. Like they were kind of like looking at me like, is this for real? And I was like, it's real.
Wow.
But they kind of were just like, okay, like what? And I'm like, no, it's real. You need to understand. I will come back engaged.
That's amazing.